Ay, when I pull up in that old school, that's him. It was sitting on gold shoes, that's him. When I jumped up with that bad bitch, that's her. Pretty face and her ass thick, that's her. Big diamonds on my neck shining, that's her. We be neighborhood big time, that's him. Dope barrel we designing, that's him. Niggas that be whining.
Alright, man, we on another episode of Champ Talk TV, man. Today we got a special guest, man. Somebody I knew growing up, always been close to home. Mayor of Oakland, in my opinion, man. The accolades, they succeed himself, bro. But today, yeah, I got my dog Fabby Davis, aka Mr. Fab, on here, man. How you doing?
Man, Neff, I'm good, man. How you feeling, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. Just trying to hold up with everything going on right now. But, yeah, man, I just want to talk about, man, like, first of all, I know you from North Oakland, like, how was your experience, like, growing up in North Oakland? Like, what was the things you learned from there and the things, like, that helped you get to where you are today?
Well, my experiences, man, growing up in Oakland, it's really no different than any other city growing up in the cities. You know, most of the things we all are faced with the same adversity, same obstacles. Right. Some tougher than others, some a little bit smoother than others. But overall, man, there's in the hoods and in the ghettos, in the cities, communities around the country, we pretty much have the same difficulties of trying to make it out, man. And our main thing is, how will you respond to them? Everything in life is about call and respond. So when you're called upon something, how will you respond to it? And that's the beauty of it, man. Just staying focused and staying dedicated and disciplined. That's
right, man. But how'd you know, I know you grew up, you went to Oakland Tech, cousin Marshawn Lynch. You know, but how'd you start getting into rapping? Like, what was your journey, and like, what made you want to start doing that, and then when did you start taking it serious?
Well, we all have to pick and choose what way will be our way out. Mm-hmm. You know, what is it that you'll be dedicated to and disciplined towards? Some people chose sports, as we said. Sean chose sports. Some people chose other roads. Some people chose the streets, mm-hmm. Which is, it's not always a happy ending when you choose that way. Right. Some people were able to do it and get on just in the right amount of time, didn't lose their life or didn't lose a lot of time in prison. But it's all about the roads that we choose. And early, I chose writing, my ability to write, mm-hmm. and talk about what I was going through and talk about the things that was going on in my neighborhood and everything that I saw. I took a liking towards it. Mm-hmm. I took a liking towards it to the fact where I was saying, well, I was going to write my way out. And this was my outlet. So about 14, 15 years old, I dedicated myself to that pack, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it unadulteratedly.
And then was it always something like when you turned 14, you started writing? Was that like, because it's so easy like to get caught up, like you said, in the streets. It's so easy, like, you know, you grow up around it, seeing those type of experiences and things. So like, how did you choose that route different, like the rapping route compared to the streets? Because like I said, it's easy to fall into that. Like, was it just because you had that passion for writing right away, or was it like you seen like other examples that went bad in the streets and was like, all right, I don't want to do that. Let me write about those experiences and, you know, put that in a rap, you know? Most
definitely. When you look up, man, you grow around, you know, you got uncles that's selling drugs, you got, you know, in my situation, in case I had parents that were using drugs, mm-hmm. Relatives that was locked up in jail, and you know, you looked at it and was like, do I want to end up like this? You know what I'm saying? And you have to be realistic with yourself. Do I want to end up like this? Do I want to be the dude sitting up in jail talking about what I could have did, what I should have did? Do I want to be the dude selling drugs, you know, looking for profit, but in actuality selling your soul just to gain for money? Right. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? You're destroying lives, and these were the things that made me be like, nah, man, they got to be something better than this. They got to be, you know, and I'm way out my options, but it was more rewards than risk, taking this road. Mm-hmm. And we all take risk, we all take chances, because chances make champions, you know. That's why we're here on Champ Talk. You hear me? But my fact was, with me, it was like, this is good. This is, you know what I'm saying, it's almost as fail-proof if I stick with it. Right. You know, and being good. I was good at it. That part. And then, so how'd you come up with the name, Mr. Fab? You know, what does that name stand for to you? And, you know, what does it mean to you? Well, Mr. Fab is an acronym. The whole name is actually an acronym. So, MISTAH stands for money is something to always have. Mm-hmm. And the fab part is forever after bread. Mm. So when you hear that, everybody's a Mr. Fab. Everybody knows that money is something to always have. So to get it, you got to stay forever after break. You got to just stay hustling. You got to stay creative. You got to stay, you know, on the cutting edge of technology. When things change, you change. You know what I'm saying? Not got to adapt. You have to have adaptability, man, to survive in these times. Right. Even when we talk about what's going on right now with the whole COVID-19 and things like that, there are many people that won't be able to adapt to these. You know, some people will there are several businesses that are going out of business. Right. There are people that are losing a multitude of money, and some people can't vacillate in a fashion to where they can understand it.
Right, because at that point, it's kind of like survival of the fittest. Like, you learn how to adapt, or you feel me, you fall behind.
Facts.
So the music part, man, you got a catalog of music. I mean, from all the way to before I could even remember. It's like, it's crazy, like from the Niglet album all the way up. But how was it? How'd you connect with like Mac Dre? Like, how did the Hyphy movie start for you? Like, how did you connect with those people? You know,
alignment, man. Life is about alignment, and when you're on your right path and your right journey, you will be aligned with people that will help further you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like when you're on BS, it's a room of alignment for BS.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you be like, it'll run you to the dudes that's on the same BS with you. They gon' jail, you know,
it's the same cycle.
Worse and worse. It's the same. It's alignment. Right. You know what I'm saying? So when you've been messing up your whole life, you get it's a list of people that you know from messing up. You see somebody like, oh, I was locked up with Blood. Like, oh, me and Blood was in YA together. Or we was in juvenile hall together. Or we was in Quentin together.
Yeah.
But the pattern that they don't notice is y'all don't even know each other because y'all both been on bullshit.
Yeah. Exactly. Y'all been on the same path.
Y'all been on the same path doing the same stuff. So that's why y'all keep running into each other.
That part.
Because it's still on, y'all both on BS. And when you on your path in life, you'll run into people that's meant for you to run into to further your success. So me just being grinding and going and what I was on that path to further myself. And I ran into significant people. I ran into, you know, Mac Dre. I ran into Gary Archer, Jazzy. I've ran into other significant people that have played an intricate role in my life in furthering the success of who Mr. Fab is. So in that development, it's just about, you know, in short, without trying to go into the whole stories about it, how you met and where you met, and
right.
It's just being on the path, man, of alignment.
And then how was that relationship for you? Because I know like that time was a real culture change in like the Bay Area. Like, it's kind of like what me and my people grow up now, and it's kind of like the culture we have now because of you guys. Like, you were a pillar in the Hyphy movement. Like, how was it like for you being a part of that? Like, what did you take from that, and do you still take those things that you learned from then into now?
Most definitely. Everything in life is a learning experience. Even your losses.
Right.
You actually realize that your losses have become your biggest lessons if you study from them and you learn from them. But those times were very fun for us. It was like our college days. It was like, you know what I'm saying, response to in my career, those were my college days. Those were the times where we were having a great time. And then some players that make it to the league or they make it to professional sports, they're happy that they went pro, but some of their best times in their career was their collegiate days.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it wasn't always about the money and the fame and the responsibilities.
That's what I've always been told. You know, as I go to Sac State now, but I've always been told like your college days gonna be your funnest days.
Right.
Like, even like as a college student, you know, we don't got the most money, and it don't even matter about that though, because you having fun and you enjoying the time.
You living life, man. You meeting people from all around the world. You just, you know, you young, wild, you free, and you know, you're learning it. The responsibilities of life haven't kicked in, and you're just enjoying it, man. You know what I'm saying? So those were times where we were just enjoying it, man. You know what I'm saying? We was going around, traveling. People were very, you know what I'm saying, influenced by our music. We're meeting people. They were happy to meet us. They were happy to, you know, to see us. And we're very impactful in certain people's lives. You know, we've created the soundtrack to certain people's childhoods.
Yeah, that part.
So that was super dope, man. To be an intricate piece in someone's childhood, man. For someone to come up to you and tell you, you know, you made my childhood fun.
Man, it ain't even just childhood though. I don't even think y'all. I don't even know if y'all realize when every party that I've been in at high school, that New Oakland come on every
Off
time.
the top, yeah, that's still a classic.
That's the banger. Like, if it's one thing, I know you got anthems for days. Like,
for sure, man. For sure.
But what made you choose? Like a lot of times now, like I see a lot of people going the independent route. What made you know? Like back then, like I'm a bet on myself. Like I'm gonna go independent and I'm gonna still make it work. Like a lot of people, like before, you know, there's a lot of people signing back then, signing those big deals, but they wasn't getting the type of. In the long run, it didn't always work out how it used to. So how'd you know the independent route was gonna work for you?
Well, I've always been independent. I've watched you know, Too Short, E40, Mac Dre, Andre Nicotina, several other people that are very successful being independent. And even when I went to go sign a big deal, I signed as a label deal, so I didn't sign as like an artist. Which was still a sign of independence. In the infancy stages of doing that, here we are in the Bay Area. We all have an independent mind frame, but we don't know how to successfully run a company like that. And these are things that I've learned upon my journey. But I've always bet on myself, you know. And I've always approached the music game like the hustle game, because it's just another hustle, you know. Like Jay-Z said, man, rap game like the crap game. It's the same game. You just gotta learn what works for you.
Yep, gotta learn how to maneuver through it.
Yeah,
Just make it work. So when you started a rap career, were you a battle rapper first, or was it always like simultaneously, like you were doing the same thing? Like how'd you get into battle rapping? Like when did you start doing that? Was that always something you did, or?
You know, one of my, I was watching a documentary last night, and it made me realize how certain people are very influential in your lives that you don't even know. You kind of you take certain things that they've said or certain quotes that they've quoted, and you apply that to your life. Bruce Lee said, you know, be water. Take no form, be shapeless, be water, you're able to adapt to anything. You know what I'm saying? You're able to, if you put water in a cup, it becomes the cup. That's part. You know, and when Bruce Lee said that, I think that's the definition of my career, of my life, of me mastering being water, where there's no just one genre or one title that I could
boundary or anything.
Nothing. Like you can't just say, oh, Fab's a hyphy rapper or he's a battle rapper or he water.
He versatile.
He could do anything.
Right.
Country, EDM, hip hop, rap, you know what I'm saying?
Whatever I put my mind to.
Whatever I want to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm an artist.
Right.
And to me that's always been, that's all. And sometimes it's a gift and a curse, because some people can't understand a person with versatility. I think diversity and versatility is not really respected as much as it once was. In hip hop, it was always a true form for a person to be diverse. But nowadays, people only want one certain style from a person.
Yeah, and it's weird though, cause like you said, like back then, or not even too far. Like even rappers like Lil Wayne, you see like him, people like him, like he's never limited to himself. He could go from rock star mode to all different types of things. So I wonder, why do you think that is though, that we limit, like the rappers nowadays limit themselves to one genre? Is it because they think they only gonna get owned that way?
I think just the fan base only want to hear one thing from you. You know, will people listen to Future if he talking about saving the world?
If he's not talking about the drug,
you know what I'm saying?
That's real.
Like, real. And Future can rap about that, but people be like, dude, we don't want to hear you rap. We want to hear you perks, nigga, and we want.
And it's selling, so it's like, why change it up?
They put you in a box, man. That's unfortunate, and then a lot of artists have that problem. I was watching a documentary on Nina Simone, and Nina Simone said that in the 50s and the 60s, she had made music about the black struggle, about civil rights, and she had gotten down on herself because she said once that had passed, she felt as if she wasn't relevant anymore. And it weighed heavy on her conscience, and it kind of disrupted her ability to make music after that. Later, you know, she later moved to Africa, she moved to Europe, and she began to, you know, formulate music, and those songs that she had did became popular again. But it broke her. It broke her, and because that adaptability to be able to adapt. She was saying at the time, you know, and this was a very woman that had like they say, strong Negroid features.
Yeah.
Like this was a dark-skinned, black, predominantly super beautiful, you know what I'm saying, black woman at the time that was outspoken. Like she was saying stuff in her music that men weren't even saying.
Right.
Like she had a song called Mississippi Goddamn, and it was talking about the lynchings, and it was talking about things that are crazy because it's still similar today. It's relevant today.
It all comes back around.
It come back around. Yeah. So she was talking about stuff like this in the 60s, and wasn't nobody making music like this. They was like, what?
Yeah, like she really putting that out.
Like
she really making music like that.
You get what I'm saying? So it was tough for her because she said that after the civil rights, like after people had got past the civil rights movement and things like that, nobody wanted to request her anymore. She wasn't doing the American Bandstand. She wasn't doing Carnegie. She wasn't doing anything like that no more.
It was like they fans kind of, like you said, they put her in the box.
They put her in that box. Yeah. And then it was like the music she was making, everybody was partying after that now. Nobody wanted to go back and talk about Strange Fruit or Mississippi Goddamn or the Four Names. Like, you know what I'm saying? So Nina Simone was very heavy in that. And saying all that to say, I think I kind of lost track of what I was saying, why I was saying that. But, it was about
rappers being put in the box.
Right.
Why they choose to keep the same type of.
So, as an artist, you can't be so set on the fact of let me be compliant to what people want from me. I'm just gonna make the music. I don't care if it's sale. I don't care whatever.
Right.
I'm making the music.
Because I'm doing it for myself.
This for me.
Right.
This is when it's all said and done. Here's the soundtrack to my life. If you ever wanted to know what I was, play these 1,000 songs and
just listen to them.
And you're gonna be on a voyage. You're gonna be on the roller coaster. It's an amusement park.
Yeah.
It's gonna be highs and lows. But I feel like I would prescribe that to every artist. You know.
I mean, it's yeah, like you said, it's difficult. Like a lot of, I see that myself. Like it's a lot of teams. It's like, and then it's like a lot of them follow the same type of flow. Like it's not really different types of music. But you know, I hope to see that change. But I wanted to ask too, like, cause I was young when that happened. But like, why were you banned from the radio? Like,
I was just being young and stubborn. Certain mistakes that was made, but we've gotten over it. You grow, you make mistakes, and you accept that. Like I say, your lessons, your losses become your biggest lessons. Definitely things that we've learned from, and you move forward. You know, and my main thing would be to future artists, man, be mindful of how you handle people. The handling of people is everything. Definitely. As a public person.
Connections you make, networking,
for sure.
All that, it all play a big
the handling.
Man, so but shoot, with that being said, shoot, you just dropped that single, That's Him, that's going crazy. So when you made that, or when you ever make a hit song like that, do you ever like know that it's gonna be that, or does it kind of like it just happen?
You just work, man. Like you feel passionate about a record. Sometimes the records that you feel passionate about, nobody else does. And then it'd be the records that you just be like, like yo, this the one. Like I never would have thought New Oakland would still be the song that it is today.
For real?
Never.
That's crazy.
I never would have thought that. I was just like, at the time, I was 22. I was in the studio with G Stack from the Delinquents, and I was in the studio with Bathgate, and I was like, man, you from the West, you from the East? It's like, man, I got the North and the East with me. Like, you feel I got the North and the East. And I was like, well, we should do something like that. You know what I'm saying? EA Ski had just sent me a beat. He didn't mix it. He didn't do nothing to it. He just sent me a beat. And I was just like, all right. Right. And we put that together. Like, I never would have thought that record would be the record that would be almost definitively Oakland's anthem.
That is Oakland's anthem. I'm telling you, every party or everywhere I go that's like a venue or something, bro, that's played.
And it's so crazy because it's not just Oakland. Like, if you from wherever you from, like
the North,
like you just go, you going crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's Oakland because it's called New Oakland, and we did it for the North, the East, and the West. But you play that record in San Francisco, they gonna go up just as much as Oakland will go up. So it's dope, man.
So you worked with a lot of artists. The list is crazy. I mean, from Too Short, Snoop Dogg, E40, Rick Ross. Like I said, it goes on. But is there an artist that like you get in the studio with and you connect with the most, or like that you guys just like it's like just clockwork with y'all? Like y'all can just knock a song out like that, or like I
love working with Too Short. I think me growing up idolizing Too Short, And for me to be in the studio with him, he's taught me so much. He's taught me more about music, the science of music, rather than just making music. He's taught me the science, the formulas, the game behind it, the certain beat counts and certain rhythms and certain ways certain words should be said. And you know, like a small example, I was in the studio with him one day and I did this song and I played it for him, and he went to the board and he just started moving it around like a jigsaw puzzle. He took this verse and put this here, and I'm like, what you, I'm like, bro, you messing up my song, what you doing? Then he pressed play, he was like, listen to it now.
Masterpiece.
I was like, oh, this crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, he a guru, man. He's like, he's one of a kind.
That's real.
You don't get a chance to.
Especially like for me, it's like anybody that like I know like up in age like that can still be relevant from back then. Like when you was relevant, when you was on top, and still be relevant now.
40 years in the game, man.
40 years. Like that's
40 years in the music game, man.
And still doing numbers every time you put something out. Still, like, music's still going crazy. You know, like that's. I can see why like y'all work so well together, or like that's you get the most.
Like he said, I've been rapping for years and ain't fell off yet. Like I've never seen Too Short doing bad.
Ever.
Like every time I've always seen, it's always been the Porsche, the Bentley, the big house, the Rolex, the records, the 3-4 women. You know what I'm saying? And not glorifying that, but that's who he is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You go to the club, you see Short, it's just Short and VIP with 10 bad ones.
I believe.
Not saying that he having sex with all of them, but it's just
he got them with him. No,
it's like 10. I'm talking about bad, where you like, how, blood? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a guru, man. So every time I get in the studio with Short, man, I learn something new, man. You would think for a person to have a style that, like, how people like, oh, Short style, hella simple, won't. Bro, it's so difficult. It's tough, man. Like the intricacies of his style, it's a science. So he's taught me the science, and he's given me so many different opportunities by allowing me to even drive the wheel. Like as far as put this album together for me.
Yeah, like even on the was that his last album?
The Pimp Tape.
Yeah, you executive?
I wrote it and executive produced it.
Oh yeah, see.
So you know what I'm saying? I mean, just for somebody to do that, man. All of them years of him doing his own stuff, and just to be at an age where he's just so comfortable. He's like, bro, just put it together.
That's real.
So I wrote it. I ANR'd it. That was dope, man. Great experience for me.
That's what's up. How did so you always said you had a passion for writing. Obviously, you've been doing that since you were a young age. When did you begin to start writing for other artists? Like for one, you had the Headband was a hit by B.O.B. when that came out. That was going crazy when I was in middle school. Loyal by Chris Brown. Like when did you start? When did those artists start reaching out to you to start writing stuff for you? Or was that always a thing? Like when you were in the game? It's
just about, like I say, aligning. Things align. You know, the aligning of stuff. If you're doing something,
it's gonna come.
Eventually, you know what I'm saying? Eventually, there are perks and rewards that come with what you're doing, especially if it's in a positive light. You know, there's positive rewards and then there's negative rewards. And it's funny because when you're on a negative path, there are things that you're being rewarded, but you think they're rewards, but it's actually bad karma that's stocking up. But on the positive light, it's positive blessings from from what you're doing. So being able to deal with having the relationships and friendships that
just lead to.
Yo, bro, I got this record for you. Well, let me hear it. Oh, this hard. Sing this. Oh, this hard. And then, you know what I'm saying? Or some folks will call you like, yo, I need a line for this record. Tell me what you think. You may not have even been in the room, but you give a person a line and they your people, so they give you credit for it.
That's real.
So, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's important, man, to have friends that speak on you and speak your name in rooms of opportunity. You know what I mean? Like if I'm doing something and somebody like, yo, man, I need some young podcasts to get on. Like, oh, man, my little nephew, man, got Champ Talk, man, get on that. You know what I'm saying? And that be
the connections and the relationships you build. You know, they go a long way. That's what I've always been talking about.
The handling of your people, man. You feel me?
So now, you know, I remember when I was younger, man, in the barbershop, I remember you coming up with Dope Hair, and it was so tight to me. Like I don't even know like if you remember, but you know, I remember when I was in the shop and you was just talking about the vision. Like I was seeing you playing it out and stuff, but like, how did that come to fruition? Like you went from selling your shirts out of trunks, I remember, in front of 44 or 45th, And now, then you went to having your own store in North Oakland, and to now on the business district in downtown Oakland. So, how did that vision come? Like, was that all? Did you always know you wanted a clothing line or something to push? And then, like, what does Dope Air stand for? Where did it come from? You know?
Well, never thought that I wanted to have a clothing line, man. But as business grows and as you grow and as your influence grows, you look at those that have done it before, and you look at Jay-Z, you look at 50, you look at Diddy, you look at all these people that were successful in music, and it was like, man, let me offer you something else too.
Right.
So I got a clothing line. We never thought of it like that. I never wanted, you know what I'm saying, to say, oh, I was gonna have clothes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we said that, we chopping it up, we talking in between conversations and meetings and stuff like that, and we just joking. And then next thing you know, people like, yo, bro, I need that shirt you just posted. Like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Like, all right. Like, I need 5 of them. I need every. You like, oh, niggas really rocking with it, huh?
Messing with the dope.
Okay. And then you just seeing it, you watching it grow, you seeing it. Then it's like, yo, what else you got? Hey, all right. Then you seeing your investments grow.
Seeing it build, yeah.
You like, damn, bro, I just made $2,500 and for really nothing. Like, you like
selling some shirts,
right?
Yeah.
And then what we would do, we would go fill up the car with hella shirts and sweaters and stuff like that, and just go pull up on cats. We would go dry the sack. So you make one trip to Sac, you come back, you like, bro, I made $9,000
off of just one trip to Sac.
I mean, that's better than show money.
Man,
you feel me? At the time, you're like, man, I ain't getting no money. They ain't getting money like that at the shows. So then we just was like, we found a spot that was available next to the barbershop. In the north, next to Uncle Dre's shop, and opened up and was like, yo, boom. We had the support of the community already. Then it was people that was seeing us on the gram. You know, we utilize social media as a great marketing tool to help.
That's one of the best marketing tools
for sure,
right now.
the best, if used properly.
Right.
And then from there, it was just it was the flow of it, man. The flow became it just became going, and here we are now, 7-8 years later, downtown Broadway, from out the trunk of a car to a successful $1 million business.
What does Dope Air stand for the people that don't know?
For those that don't know what Dope Air stands for, it stands for developing opportunity for people to evolve, and when you do so, everyone rises above. You know what I mean? And it's all about, like I just said, it's imperative that you have associates and friends that mention your name in rooms of opportunity.
Yeah.
So
It goes a long way.
if we can develop opportunity, not just for ourselves, but for others around us, we can help everybody rise.
That's real. What made you want to write a book though? And then what could somebody expect to see in your book that you wrote? Like what made you want to do that? Because I know publishing, all that, it could be a long process type of thing to do, but you did that. Like now you got not only you have entrepreneur, rapper, you're an author, so that's different. You don't see a lot of people do that. So what made you want to get into writing a book? And then like I said, what could somebody expect to see in that book?
It's always about the passions. My passions has always been as a writer. And you could write a song, you could write a book, you could write a book, you could write a movie, you could write a play. You know what I mean? How far do you want to take your talents? And that's a question that people have to ask themselves. How far do you want to go with it? What in life, with what you're doing right now, how far do you want to go with it?
Right. Do you want to keep yourself at this barrier, like, oh, I got here, but that's enough for me? Or do I want to just keep going?
How far do you want to go with it? Because it's endless opportunity.
Endless.
We're in a universe where at any given time, some scientist or some worker for NASA can discover a new planet.
Real. Anytime.
This universe is millions and millions and millions. No one knows how old it is. Millions. And you mean to tell me they're still discovering new things?
So what's stopping me from discovering a new talent?
Come on.
Building a new.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's a creature right now that they just found in the bottom of the ocean, never seen before. This world is millions and millions and millions of years old. You mean to tell me they finding new species? So why would I limit myself?
Right. That's real.
Life is about the discovery, the passage of discovery. Michael Jordan didn't say, I just want to play basketball. He went from being basketball to being coach to being an owner.
Right.
Still in the realm of what he loves to do.
Still doing it, but still building.
Still growing.
Yeah.
So how far do you want to take what it is that you're doing?
And also, you know, growing up, I used to always love to go by like the backpack drives and stuff that you always had. But like, have you always had like a giving back mentality? Like, was that something you always wanted to do when you was younger? And then like, what made you think about like the backpack giveaway? Like, you know,
that was one thing I wanted to do more than anything. I wanted to utilize my position to help. I love that. I love empowering people. That's the greatest gift you can give someone.
Right.
Empowerment.
That's real. Especially because, you know, it's easy to like, I ain't gonna say it's easy, but like it's easy for somebody to get the money and like, you know, live your best life. But I think it's powerful. Like, you've been doing the backpack giveaway for what, like
16 years. 16
years now. That's dang near more than half of my life. Like that's crazy that you just keep those type of things going. I like seeing stuff like that, especially from people like your caliber, because it's like you get the money, you can go and move far away and not do none of that. But like it's real that you do that. And I was just curious, you know, just to know like.
Yeah, it's a big passion of mine, man. It's always been something in my mind that I wanted to do, in position to help people. It's huge.
Do you always get people like coming back, like just asking them, like, or telling you like how much it like helped you or helped them, or like, you know, getting feedback from it?
Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd make you feel great. Cause it make you know what I'm saying. And even when people don't do it.
Yeah, but it's still the fact that you know you helping somebody else.
I'm not doing it for the headlines.
Yeah.
So I never worried about if the news covered it, if somebody said thank you, or somebody. This wasn't for y'all.
Right.
Like this is for y'all, but it's not for y'all. It's for me.
Right.
It's actually the greatest selfish, selfless act one can do.
That's real. So not only do you have, like I said, authors, rapper, entrepreneur. I like to look at you as like an activist too, man. Because whenever it comes to like speaking out, I just seen you was just at the lake when all the protests was going on and stuff. That you speaking out on that. So has politics and like activism always been a thing for you? And like, where did that mentality come from? Did you grow up with that mentality, like always just being aware of like what's going on? You know, like just because it's easy just to keep your voice in, but like, what makes you want to speak out? Like, what is it? Yeah, like.
Well, my mom kept my face in the books, and then growing up, I had a household that was very diverse. Like my grandmother's house was very diverse. In one room would be my uncle's, who was a Black Panther. In the other room would be one of my uncles was a drug dealer. My grandmother's house, my other grandmother's house, my daddy was now as I get older, you know, I'd say a professional womanizer, which was a pimp.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it kept my game.
You got all facets.
You got all kind of game.
Yeah.
And in the streets, game is nothing but knowledge.
Right.
That's just it. You know, it is what it is. You learn how to do it. So I learned from all of it. And then being from Oakland, that's Oakland. Like Oakland is an accumulation of all that: pimps, players, hustlers, Black Panthers.
Man,
you know what I'm saying? It's everything.
Game.
Everything. You know what I'm saying? Everything. And you know, you can choose what you want to indulge in. And I think in the position that I've taken, activism is something that is, it comes with it. You know, the powers and the people in politics they address. Tupac said that several years ago. And you must understand that. You must understand how powerful it is to empower people. Like I said, Huey Newton said in the State, man, power is the greatest gift that you can give someone, especially empowering someone who has no power. And that's all it's about, man. I've made a vow to always speak for the people, on behalf of the people, and being mindful that today they may clap for you, tomorrow they may boo you. So you can't get caught up in the emotions of that.
Especially with the era we in. Like,
yeah, you can't be caught up in the emotions of that. Today they may love you, tonight they may hate you. So always be pure in what it is that you do.
With that being said, how do you feel about the current state of Black Lives Matter and like the continuous cycle of police brutality and like just black lives being taken from the black and blue. Like, do you have any comments about that? And like, you know, what would you say about that?
Yeah, police brutality is something that it has switched its shape, but its intentions has always been the same. We must understand where policing came from. Policing came from people that were paid to go retrieve runaway slaves.
Yep, the Star, that's what the Star was.
So they were slave catchers.
Yep.
And then the slave catchers, who were the slaves? The black people were the slaves.
Right.
So the form of policing had just changed from police going to retrieve slaves for them going to retrieve blacks,
Right.
free blacks, to get them back incarcerated, another form of slavery.
Back in the system of being.
So we went from the plantations to the prison systems. And the form of police brutality has evolved, but in the infancy stages of police brutality, it's always been the same. It's been a plot and a plan to brutalize, to victimize, to incarcerate black lives.
That's real.
Black lives have to realize until we matter to ourselves, we can never expect someone else to matter to us or expect us to matter to anyone else. So we have to begin to value us. When people say, well, white people never say nothing when black people kill each other, but they always want to say something when white people kill each other. That's a true statement, but that's not the argument.
Right.
The argument is not the narrative of black on black crime, because there's no such thing as black on black crime. In the grand scheme of things, it's crime.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? More white people kill white people
Than
black people kill black people, but you never hear nobody say white on white crime.
Nope. It's crime.
It's crime. So we've marginalized the experiences of violence and trauma amongst each other, and now it's called black on black crime. So the indulging of black on black crime becomes a topic. And that's not the topic. The topic is we have to value each other. We have to value our lives. I have to see you as my brother instead of a distant stranger, even if I don't know you.
Yep.
I have to want for you what I want for myself. And we have to value each other. We have to realize, is revenge bigger than genocide? Fratricide? Fratricide is the killing of your own people.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's the problem. That's the biggest problem though, because I mean it's easy like you said to just say black on black crime is a problem, or police killing blacks is the problem. It shouldn't be. Nobody, like you said, we should all be seeing each other as our brother. I mean,
sure.
It's definitely harder just to say that than actually do it.
Most definitely.
But I mean, I think that's the huge problem. I think that's like a lot of the time we don't get that.
We've been bred and been taught to hate each other. So in the hating of each other, we have to break the monotony that a corrupted society has curated. We've been socially engineered to hate each other, just as if pit bulls have been socially engineered to fight each other and bite each other and kill each other. Pit bulls aren't bad dogs.
That's what they've been taught, though. That's what they've learned over time.
And then even when you have a pit bull that doesn't bite, or that's not a vicious pit bull, the way that it's perceived because of other pit bulls, they like, oh no, let me get away. Them dogs is vicious.
That's a good analogy though, because that's exactly how it be.
So that's how they look at black people.
You could be walking down the street and they want to cross the street just because of the color of your skin.
For sure.
And really, you could be somebody like me who's just doing podcasts.
We've been framed.
Right.
And in the framing of the black man, we've been framed to fit a certain profile. And in that profile, it matches the agenda of the oppressor.
Yeah.
And those that are oppressing us continue to write the agendas and continue to write the bills and continue to be the main engineers in this social engineering experiment.
It's the continuous cycle of the same thing.
And so for us to break that monotony, we must begin to become reverse engineers. We must begin to exhibit examples of us coming together, us building with each other, us supporting each other, us growing with each other, us educating each other. It is pivotal that the educated educate the uninformed.
That's real.
Because if not, then we'll continue to indulge in the same cycles that have us what we are today.
And still keep being ignorant of the same things.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, I appreciate your time today, man. I really do appreciate you coming out and doing this interview with me. I think we talked about some great stuff. Yeah, man. So just tell them your Instagram or Twitter, anywhere you want you to follow you on or something, man. Like
social media stuff is Fabby Davis Jr. Fabby Davis Jr. 1, y'all tap in with us. But most of all, man, we so pull-upable. Pull up, baby. You know what I'm saying?
We at the Dope Air store right now. Where the
You
address
feel me?
at, man?
1764 Broadway. Come yank up. Come check out. You know, me and the Unc. And we just out here, man, doing it for the people on the front line as always.
All right, man. That's another episode of Chimp Talk. Y'all heard it here first, man.
I got the north, got the east, got the west with me. So I suggest you niggas don't mess with me. Nigga, be cool, cause you don't wanna squab.